My friends at Celebrating Act 2 asked me to talk to you today about keeping your property and investing and fixing it up rather than selling it. Now, I'm Jeff Lazerson. I'm president of Mortgage Grader in Laguna Niguel. I've been a mortgage broker for 30 years, and I write a column in the local paper in the Orange County Register, and I'm a radio expert on KNX 1070 News Radio in Los Angeles. So I have a lot of experience with all of this. I would say for anybody that's contemplating staying in their home versus selling it, fixing it up versus selling it, I always think you're best off keeping the property if at all possible. You forego selling expenses and purchasing expenses, all those costs to relocate, which can get very expensive. To sell a property, you might be paying 4, 5, 6% commission depending on the area and who you're talking to, and then you have escrow and title insurance costs. And then on the buyer's side, you'll have closing costs. So it could be anywhere from 5 to 10% just to relocate. Another thing is the familiarity with where you are now. You know your neighbors, you know your house, you know what you got. If you move somewhere else, you could end up moving into next door to the neighbor from hell or something like that. I've seen it happen a lot with people, or an area that you don't like. So if you stay in your house, as far as renovations go or fix-ups, it might be a lot less expensive than you think to keep your property and fix it up versus selling it. I mean, just those moving costs and those settlement costs might even be enough to cover the improvements that you're going to have on your property. So if you're going to improve your property, maybe you need to widen a staircase. Maybe you need to get a walk-in shower, upgrade technology on the house, things like that. Naturally, you want to get bids from contractors. Always the best place to start with to find contractors to do the work are local people that you know, especially realtors. Realtors generally have a very good read on who good contractors are because they work in that world a lot. Go to the local hardware store, talk to your neighbors, see who they've used, things like that. Always check their licensing. Get at least 3 bids from each contractor that you deal with, and time activate the contract. Make sure that they get the work done in stages within a certain period of time for you, and make sure there's a penalty in there if they go over their time period. And obviously, if things like weather, like they can't work in the rain, then that's something that you have to give them some consideration on. But if it's not weather related, make sure that they get things done in a certain time period. As far as getting the work done, there's a lot of ways to do it. You could use savings to pay for any upgrades that you want to do on your house. You could get a home equity line of credit. The beauty of the home equity line of credit is there's almost never a cost from them. Just about every bank out there or credit union will do them without charge. The interest rates on them are very good. You only have to pay for the money once you actually borrow the money. So when you get the line set up, you're not spending on money that you're not using. Generally, the equity lines, there's an annual fee to them, $75 or so, and it is a floating interest rate on a month-to-month basis. So those are the downsides of the home equity lines. But typically, they'll run for 20, 25, 30 years. The first 10 years or so you can borrow and pay back, just like a credit card. And then after the first 10 years, they typically are frozen, and you have to pay the loan down within the next 15 or 20 years. So that's a great way to finance the repairs. If you're doing a large repair, there's something called a construction loan. It's for a major project. Generally, we don't see that too often, but those are out there. Construction loans will give you larger dollar amounts. They're much more expensive for oversight and points and fees. You can get something called a reverse mortgage to pay for the repairs. You just get rid of your first mortgage that you have and get a reverse. No payments on it, and you can get an equity line through that reverse mortgage. Another thing, you can just get a brand new, what I would call a forward first mortgage. Would be a brand new first mortgage on your house that you would pay on monthly. But if you have a high interest rate and you can get a lower rate and you get your cash out to accomplish your repairs on a fixed, that's something else to think about. You can also do things in stages. Maybe you need to do the bathroom, so do those first, and then maybe next is the kitchen. You do that, and you do the yard later. So you can do things in segments or pieces. You don't have to tackle everything at once. And as long as the repairs that you're doing or the improvements or upgrades are kind of conforming to what the neighborhood is doing, and don't do something what I call a white elephant that's so just outlandish that it doesn't conform and comply. Don't do something like that, because it's not a good return on your money. As long as you're not doing something like that, you will usually see the dollars back on those repairs, especially if you're adding square footage to the property. That's always a good thing. Maybe you're going to expand a bathroom or a bedroom or a family room. Always good, and you always seem to get your dollars back. If it's something like a luxury item like a swimming pool, even though you might enjoy it a lot and you want to do it, you will not see dollars for dollars back on that if and when you go to sell your property. You'll get some discount on the amount of money. But pools are nice, and there's nothing wrong with owning them. Just understand you're doing it for enjoyment and not investment. And I'm Jeff Lazerson, president of Mortgage Grader, and thank you for your time.